Where is my YouTube? View your channel. Yeah, my YouTube didn't upload for some weird reason. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to take it off of Twitch or something later on, download it, and then upload it off of YouTube. All right, that works. That's fine. I will get that handled. So there, it's not on YouTube just yet, guys, but it will be on YouTube at some point. Just so you guys know. Let me make sure that my mic is set to the right one real quick. I don't want you guys having an issue hearing me. And then we will start our exploration. Oh wait, I didn't set the bot up. Ah, jeez. All right. Uh, all right. So for those of you who want to hear the guest speaker more, if you guys have something to do, I don't expect you to sit here through an hour of me talking. You guys can come back at 15:30. That's the part that I want more attendance at, honestly. I want you guys to welcome our friends from FFGI. They're going to be here today. They're going to be here on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be dedicated to their AMA. I'm hoping to get some really good questions from you guys. We switch it up. It's only one question now, so I don't want to see a thousand questions. Um, but yeah, so I definitely want to emphasize that because the last time we did a few questions and it got really excessive, and I don't want that again. I want everybody to get a chance to ask some solid questions regarding the project. I don't want anybody to feel like they're left out because one guy asked 12 questions, and that's kind of what we had happening, guys. Um, so I really don't want that. 1 second. Let's see here. I'm gonna get the tracking going now. I'm gonna have a list of everybody who's joined and left, and the whole 9 yards. 1 second. Bot commands. Good. There we go. Start tracking. All right, guys. So we're good. Now we can. Now we can start. Now we can start. Virion, you're always here, dude. Oh, Shotty, you can't hear me at all. Let me try jumping down and jumping back up. Sometimes that helps. Um, can you guys hear me now? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that we're not having any issues here, guys. Let me see here. Entire screen. I'll just share the screen over here. That way, because some of you guys can't see my camera for some reason too, and that's a weird, it's a weird Discord bug that we've been having for a long time. Yes, I am live on X, Virion. Um, I don't understand why I glitch. Yeah, it's weird. But so are you all ready? All right. Just double check and put this on the side. Michael Dallas will be joining from the FFG Discord account. Added our CJN here. All right, guys. So sorry about that. Just getting ready for our special guest to come and join us in what 45 minutes. Um, acknowledge my presence. What's up, Israelite? Um, I acknowledge you. I see you guys. Don't worry. I do see you guys. You guys are all awesome. I'm happy to have you here. Um, all right. So basically, Film 5 Minutes Group, from the look of Film 5 Minutes Group, it's all about sharing the ability to own rights to films and um, funding films in a more grassroots style, not so much like single corporate backer or single major studio backing. It's a way to share in the ownership of these movies and these projects that people are trying to produce, right? And it's an Ethereum blockchain technology as based asset backed crypto token. So that's the FFG token that they're coming out with in October. It's a finite pool of 1 billion tokens. So this goes a little more into like the tokenomics. I mean, the whole thing is kind of a tokenomics deal, but it seems like it's also like a platform with the FAST program here. Um, if anybody wants to check out their website and follow along on their own, yeah, that happens a lot, Precious. You guys can check out ffgi.io, and you guys will be able to follow along with me directly. If you guys are on PC, if you guys are on phone, that's a little bit harder. I do understand that. Um, so it's about giving public access to movie returns previously reserved for big studios. They're planning on initial trading on decentralized exchanges DEXs and will be eligible for centralized exchanges when certain milestones are met. So they're trying. I think that that's usually a smarter way to go for most projects, especially like niche projects. If you're looking at projects like gaming projects, if you're looking at projects like film finance, RWAs, DPIN, a lot of these, just tossing on CEX is such an expense in its own right that, yo, what's up, Graveyard? Tossing on CEX is such an expense in its own right that it almost doesn't make sense to launch on a CEX, even like a tier 2 or a tier 3 when you're first starting off with your project, right? Because decentralized exchanges are expensive enough with like the liquidity providing that you have to do. A lot of this, hold on. Everybody's got something that they want in the middle of events. Um, so Easy. Do you have any? I know I have to close the app. It drives me nuts. Um, send to Bobby. All right. So nut, nut. What? All right. So starting off, you kind of want to go for the decentralized exchanges first. Decentralized exchanges allow you to open the opportunity to just about everybody still, while allowing you not to have to spend stupid amounts of money to list on a CEX. So it gives you an opportunity to still gain access and traction, still get motion on your token without having to really dump yourself into centralized exchanges and the costs that come with it, and the promotions that they expect, and then the expectations on reaching certain goals and milestones. So there's a lot that goes into CEXs that you don't have to deal with DEX, but it's still, they're both expensive. So go with the better option for you usually. But I think DEXs are a really strong way to go for smaller market cap tokens, or smaller tokens that haven't gained major mainstream traction yet. Niches it's really big with, so it helps. But it's more about giving access for the public to movies and the revenues that come from them. Revenue sharing, intrinsic asset value always grows, classified as an asset backed utility token. We have the full white paper here, which we will dive into. Tomorrow's going to be a movie night. I'm thinking we're gonna do like an Armageddon. I'm thinking Armageddon director's cut, or something along those lines. Um, just so that we can get like a commentary from the directors and from the actors and stuntmen and everything as they're doing the movie, so that we don't have to like it helps give us an eye into how they develop movies as we go. So that's something else that we're going to be doing tomorrow instead of like our typical game nights or whatever. We're going to do it that way. One token, unlimited earning potential. Token demand upside. FFGI's success in film drives demand for the FFG token, film profit participation, support film projects, benefit from platform driven returns, exchange trading, buy and sell, so you can play the speculative market as well. Liquidity provider fees, earn fees if you set up an LP pool. I don't know if any of you know how to set up an LP pool, if you've done it before. I don't usually mess with them because they make me nervous. Impermanent loss scares me, but they can be really good money. If you look at things like AVAX right now, AVAX launched their black hole. Their liquidity pools have been going nuts, but there's more risk with liquidity pools than there are with just holding a token traditionally. Like you can hold and stake and make returns. Liquidity pools are typically like staking, so but it, depending on the market movements of the price, you can lose money holding a liquidity pool stake. So I would definitely do more research into that before you invest in that. Just DYOR, be safe. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. They're good profit makers typically, but they can also be risky. So be careful, guys. Governance power, vote on which films get funded next. This is the cool thing. Like if you really like a potential movie that's coming out, you get together with a group of people and say, "Hey, look, guys, let's support this. Let's push the message." You can affect what movies will be coming out next, and I think that's cool because there are movies I would have loved to see that potentially were on the docket to be made, and guess what? They weren't made. Why? Because they didn't have the funding, or people weren't interested enough in it, or whatever. You help generate the interest. You help push the interest. You help fund the tokens by participating in the ecosystem, and then you help get rights to the movies and other things. It's kind of cool. It's not something I've seen before. Hey, Anna. It's not something I've seen before, but it's an interesting approach to decentralizing the film industry and financing it. No public staking. FFG is not a passive income or staking token, so it's just a straight utility token. It's just backing their ecosystem. It's not going to be a passive stake. There's not going to be any passive income. You're just earning bonuses for bringing others in. You're voting on the films. You're getting trading fees for liquidity pools. That's probably more of like the passive staking there, the liquidity pools. But that helps fuel the token on the speculative market. So they're planning on DEX release. They're not planning on CEX launch initially. They're gonna wait for milestones before they do CEX, which is smart. Um, it's the way to go, honestly, in my opinion. But ecosystem growth upside. The more films funded, the stronger FFG becomes. Airdrops and meme coin perks. Each earn bonus tokens by voting or joining exclusive events. Pre-sale. They got the pre-sale going live. A pre-sale is live. You can get your FFG tokens now, but the ICO launch date is October 7th. It's up to you guys. They're selling them at 10 cents a token. They're trying to get pre-sale now. I guess they're trying to see interest now. And yeah, I mean it is smart. I do agree with you. Dex route for anything that isn't like a major ETH token or something like that is probably the smart way to go initially. If you're doing something on Sui, you don't want to launch on Gate. Like if you're doing something on like you don't want to do these big centralized exchanges initially because they're so expensive, dude. Initial coin offering. All right. So pre-sale disclaimer: you're purchasing. One second, guys. All right. These tokens are not currently tradable and will only become tradable after our exchange listing on October 7th. Participation in this pre-sale involves risk. This is not an offer of securities. These are the I like that they have these warnings. Um, Usually TGE price is higher than the ICO Liberty. It's only a billion tokens, so there's always another CJF stage, Dark Knight. Always, bro. There will always be one. Even if I'm not here, there will be a CJF stage. But yeah. So I like that they include these disclaimers. Make sure that you're doing your research. Make sure that you're. I don't know what the TGE price is, bro. I can't help you there. All official FFG coin contracts will be deployed from the Gnosis safe address here with the ENS name ffgcoin.eth. Never trust a token or wallet that doesn't match. Bookmark it, share it, verify it. Make sure that you keep in mind stuff like this when you are looking at new tokens. Um, ETH, from the look of it. White paper. I do want to go over fast real quick, okay? Before we jump into the white paper, you can Mattersman. You've been here for a bit. I would still hang out. We're giving away three sets of 10 USDT in about an hour and a half. So you're welcome to hang out. I'd love for you to meet Joe. Or I'm sorry, Joseph. I don't know if he prefers Joe or Joseph. And we do have other people from the team that'll be joining in to come and hang out. So you guys are welcome to hang out and tune in for that. David is creating a Discord account and would like an invite to the server. Okay, cool. 1 second, guys. Trying to get our guests situated here. Would like an invite to the server, but would just be participating in the audience for today's event. Okay. Okay. Michael Dallas, FFG Discord account. Okay. FFG Discord account. Joseph will be joining from his own. And. Alright, cool. Just making sure we're good there. All right, guys. So, FFG introduces the Film Assurance and Stability Team. FAST program is something that they're coming out with. They're trying to make sure that each project is successfully completed for every film. The entertainment industry is evolving. FFGI is leading the way. Ensuring project completion is critical to maintaining stability and protecting the values of the FFGI ecosystem. If they can't get their movies completed, this is FFGI, but this is a portion of their platform, De Young. The FAST program is something that they're working on to support FFGI funded projects and creating a community of people behind that that goal. Um, when it comes to the program, it's designed to support FFGI funded projects by creating a community of industry professionals who can be called upon to assist with project completion in the event of delays, production gaps, or unforeseen challenges. This is like the support team, basically, a community-led support team of people who work in the industry to help out if there are unforeseen issues with a film's production or a project that's a part of the film network. So they have a lot of options for people to join. It is community driven, right? And for those people who are maybe interested in film or maybe want to get involved or want to see if they can help out with directing, producing, screenwriting, the camera, makeup, whatever, you guys can potentially get involved with this. It doesn't hurt to have experience, but I'm sure if you hop on their Discord and you talk to them and you tell them that you don't have experience but you're willing to learn and that you're from whatever region, and if resources are scarce in those regions, who's available? If you're available to help out, what happens? You get an opportunity to help out and learn and grow, right? Yeah, Shadi. It sounds like the SWAT of FFGI. And if you think about it, a lot of you guys are from the Africa region. the Middle East region, Southeast Asia region, South America, these Ethereum Liberty, these regions don't have a huge amount of reliable uh, industry professionals or people that may even be um, interested in it long term, right? So it would definitely be good to have your name in the list in case something in your region does come up. Now, the fact that it's scarce for people who are looking to do things in the area also means that it's going to be scarce for opportunities most likely in your regions too. But when the opportunity pops up, if your name is in there, guess what? You're probably going to get a chance to help out and learn. And what do we do here? We learn, grow, and earn, right? So having the opportunity for it, if it interests you, it's there. I'm not saying if you don't like movies, if you don't like the idea of helping out with any of these things, to go and do this. No, by no means. But if you want to learn, if you want to experience it, hell yeah. Why not, guys? It's just another opportunity that is being presented to you. Opportunity sometimes only comes once, Nally. That's how life works. Sometimes that first opportunity is that one opportunity that would have got your foot in the door that may not come again. But like I said, don't do something if you don't want to still. Make sure that it's something that you're interested in. I'm interested in media and stuff like that. I'm interested in helping people learn and grow, right? So that's one of the reasons why I vibe really well with this position here, doing the community stuff with you guys, right? And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it because I know that I can go out and do something I don't like that's gonna make me more money somewhere else or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So like realistically, the fact that I have some passion behind this helps me a long way. Um, don't sit there and take an opportunity that you're not passionate about just because it's an opportunity. But keep an eye out for the opportunities that you are passionate about. Take a chance on things, guys. If you don't ever take a chance, you won't ever be able to enjoy the things that you may want to enjoy. Take a shot. What was that song? You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. What was it? Blow, grow, opportunity knocks, once in a lifetime. Like come on, guys. I'm white as fuck, but I can't rap. Sorry, guys. Like, yeah, exactly. I say that as I'm quoting a Shady song, right? Um, white boy got no rhythm. Um, oh fuck. But yeah, take the chances that you want. Take you apply. How does it work? So if a funded movie faces delays, may call upon network members to step in and help complete the project. Industry professionals earn NFT based ownership. Members who contribute to completing a film receive a percentage of the product's NFT backed token. This NFT represents ownership in the completed film and it entitles holders to royalties distributed upon the project's release. NFTs aren't dead, dude. JPEG NFTs aren't doing great right now. Utility NFTs are still a thing, bro. It's just you don't see them as often. NFTs are still like a vital, yeah, bro. They still have big NFTs selling for big money. The NFTs are still a thing. It's just people hyped into them with no utility behind them, and they were like, "I'm gonna make millions." It made no sense to me, bro. They came in and they thought that they were going to post pictures on IPFS and make millions of dollars off of those pictures. And some people did make millions of dollars off of those pictures. But there was no utility behind them. And they haven't built out heavy utility behind them. So it's hard for people to have a hype or an interest in it. People don't realize like how early NFTs came out with the ERC 721 contract that the 721 contract was game changing, right? The 1155 contract, even more so, right? But now we're looking at that 5, 6 years ago, right? And during that time, there was no utility for it. You couldn't really like people didn't have anything that was built out infrastructure wise or industry wise that would help to facilitate those being useful or productive or profitable long term. I think that meme coins have their place to an extent. I think that they do take away a lot from the industry, but I have a lot of NFTs that I can't sell, Nally. I have a lot of NFTs that have rugged. I blew some of my earnings from a meme token on a meme NFT for a random Solana game like 3 years ago. Like shit happens, man. But you can get rugged just as easily off of a crypto token or like no, not that much worth. Jeez, I have seppuku. Um, no, I am not. I am not rich. Um, Elon's definitely got me, bro. I am not there, guys. But so you earn NFT based ownership. Now, NFT based ownership, you get royalties distributed in long term benefits based on owning the NFTs. The system allows industry professionals to secure long term financial rewards while at the same time being able to, yeah, you know what? No, I don't wish. I don't like Lambos. I think Lambos are ugly. Anybody who wants a Lambo in my mind is like delusional. Why would you want a super expensive car with super expensive costs for parts, with super expensive like bro, give me a Camaro. Give me a give me a give me a Chevy Malibu, bro. Like no, not even BMW. Give me a Chevy. Give me a Ford Maverick, bro. Give me a Ford Maverick. I want a pickup truck. I think when I see fast cars out on the street, I think, oh, these guys are just some young dumb kid that wants to show off. When I see a pickup truck, I'm like, yo, this dude's busted his ass and made it. Like this this guy got like the V8 Hemi, like big boy truck. Like, bro, that's when you know they've made it. All right. I mean, I joke about Ford too, found on a road dead. I think you're awesome, Nally. I appreciate you, brother. So here we go. This gets a little more in depth. You want a backhoe, dude? Backhoes are profitable as fuck. You can sit there and you can rent yourself out for like an hour a day for like $200 an hour. Like and make some money digging holes for people. It's not a pretty car, newbie. And it looks uncomfortable as fuck. Have you ever seen somebody get in and out of a Lambo? Look at me, guys. I'm a big dude. Could you see me getting in and out of a Lambo? I would die. Come on. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. I'm crawling my ass in and out of a Lambo, guys. No way. No way in hell. Exactly. That's essentially what you're doing, though. Like, but yeah, let's get back on track. We've got about 20 minutes before our guests start to show up, and I want you guys at least somewhat knowledgeable about their platform. I want them not to have to share the technicals with you, so much today. I want them to be able to share them. I want you guys to be able to learn something cool, something refreshing. I want you to get to know them as a project, as people within that project, bro. No, I'm afraid of Lamborghini because of my body size, bro. I'm not yeah, I always get sidetracked. I'm a friggin' squirrel, guys. Come on, stop squirreling me. Um But so we're why is this a big deal for film industry professionals, right? Power of perpetual royalties. To put this long-term revenue stream into perspective, let's examine the TV series Friends. Final episode aired in 2004, yet 20 years later in 2024, the annual royalty income was $1 billion for Friends. That's $1 billion for Friends. Like, and 20 years later, there's no better return on investment for that. Like, if you invested in the movie or the show and you have a stake in it, you made money and you're going to continue to make money, right? Six main actors each earn 2% of these payments, amounting to $20 million per year for work they completed 2 decades ago. That's an extraordinary example of passive income at its best. So, if you're getting the NFT, you're getting part of that passive income in the future. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm a sci-fi fantasy like magic myth um uh yeah, I like mystical worlds and bro, I won't say no to a Lambo, D Young, but I may trade it in for a pickup truck. I'm telling you right now. Um, but yeah, I don't like superhero movies. Funny enough, I don't like DC, Marvel, um, Capcom. I don't. Yeah, more sci-fi, bro. More sci-fi by far. Yeah, stop sidetracking Taurus. Thank you, Ezia. Ezia, mom. I'm gonna start calling her mom. I got mom in the audience. She's keeping me on track. Thank you, Ezia. Oh, all right. So how it works? This is the project distribution. No, I actually didn't see that. I got to take a look at it. To kill a monkey? All right, I am sidetracking because I want movie to kill a monkey. I've heard of To Kill a Mockingbird, but I've never heard To Kill a Monkey. I'm putting that on the side, and I will check it out. I just saw that it's a Nigerian film. I've never watched a Nigerian film before, so I'm happy to take a look. Um, I've never seen Diago Jota with his Lambo and what happened. So yeah, but the project distribution works like this: 20% of newly issued token is permanently allocated to FFGI as an NFT holding. 80% of the token supply is distributed among production participants and fast contributors based on their percentage of involvement. So each FFGI funded project repays in full all assets related to that project, including all intellectual property, distribution rights, sequel rights, royalty rights, copyrights, and any other distribution or asset of the project are combined into an NFT backed token named after the movie. So 20% of this goes into is allocated to FFG as NFT holdings. 80% is distributed among everybody who contributed, basically, um, based on their percentage of involvement. So I mean, if you this guy, should you ever watch Aki and Pawpaw? No, I don't know what Aki and Pawpaw is, bro. Y'all gonna hate the CGIs. I'll check it out, bro. I'll check it out. I'll watch anything once. Well, almost anything once. There are some things I probably won't ever watch, but I'll watch most things once. All right. So it's basically you guys have heard of like a commune, right? Like so when you guys like live in a commune or like a shared um work or production input kind of living. I have friends who do, in the US or in Canada who do this. And they all live together, right? And they all put effort into the farm. They all put effort into bro, I'm gonna get sidetracked again. What are you talking about? I'm always getting sidetracked. But so what happens is like you all put production effort into this thing, and then you all reap the rewards from it in the way of food, services, goods, stuff like that. That's kind of what this is, almost with an NFT backed token to 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 mark who did what, who has what percentage. Um, it contains all of the intellectual rights, all the distribution rights, all the rights and everything in that contract and tokenizes it. I think that's a smart way to use NFTs. I think it's a way that's been tried, so I'm interested to see how the project does it for sure. Because a lot of people have had issues with RWA style tokens in the past. It seems like this is an interesting concept. It seems like something that they've thought out a little bit. Um, so I'm definitely interested to see where they go with it. It's a rough industry though, because people in crypto are typically looking for more immediate 100x, 1000x returns, right? So I know that it tends to not be as appealing to people. Professor Trojan, okay. It tends to not be as appealing to people because if you don't get that immediate return, people get frustrated, right? And it sucks because you can see a lot of really good projects fall to the wayside because they don't have that hype or that immediacy to the profits. And that's something that we're dealing with as an industry as a whole. That's one of the issues with NFTs. That's one of the issues with meme tokens is that they're these immediate dopamine hits of chart go up, but most of them end up with charts bottoming out when people take profit. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We've got, I'm sure we're in the millions of delisted tokens, right? So yeah, you guys gotta just you gotta be smart about what you get involved in. I personally I like better, or I'm more attuned to the long term passive earning potential of crypto. Staking, high yield staking is definitely something that interests me. They don't have staking here. Liquidity pools can help. It would be something that I'd probably be interested in moving forward. I don't see. I don't. I think if the community doesn't do anything, delisting comes. It depends on the community too. Yes, if there's no community backing behind it, that can get difficult. But yeah, it's definitely not the easiest. It's not the easiest thing to navigate. This industry itself is a tough spot because you have so many different variables. You've got the speculators, you've got the investors, you've got people looking for long-term projects that are situated and well thought out. But then you've got the majority of the masses who are just interested in tossing $100 into a token and hoping it goes burr. You know, like they're not looking for a smart play. They're looking for a quick money play in a lot of cases. And this isn't one of those quick money plays. This is one of those long term investments. Over time, you your investment starts to bear fruit and it starts to pay off. As the films get more popular, as they make more money, I can see you making more based off of your contribution or your investment into the token, um, joining the fast program and how much you participate there. So there's a lot of different options for you to take part. It's just you have to it, the industry is rough. The industry is rough, guys. So I think they're going to have their challenges starting off, but in time they will hopefully get everything situated. It's a lot of FAFO. I'm very straight. I see our friend here, FFG, is in the audience. All right, let's see. You can come up whenever you want, brother. And I'll get you. I'll get you situated. Let's see. Thanks for the follow, guys. I can invite you up. There we go. And once Professor gets in here, I will be able to invite him up as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. It is nice to be here with you guys, honestly.
Happy to have you. We typically do this every week. We do something along the lines of this, only we do project specific weeks time to time. And this week is Film Finance Group International Week. So we're happy to have you. We're looking forward to hearing what you guys have to share. Today is more of like an informal get together, going over the project, hearing some things from leading industry participants so that we can find a little more about film finance and just what you guys are kind of doing in the industry itself. A lot of us aren't actually familiar with the film industry on like a background level. So that would help as well, especially Joseph coming up. I can see that being fun.
Oh, absolutely. He is an amazing resource for you guys to have here on this, especially when it comes to learning anything that you want to know about the film industry. He's a professor of communication and entrepreneurship at USC. So he's also a brand media specialist, award-winning feature film director. He's a technology innovator and musician. He's got a music academy as well that he does. That he's got lots of students that have gone through that academy that have moved on to Harvard, Princeton, Yale. He specializes in the fusion of storytelling and business, synthesizing brand identity and strategy into compelling multimedia content. So this is your guy if you want to know how to do anything with screenwriting, with directing, anything in the film industry. He's the guy. He is the guy.
That's awesome.
Gosh, what an introduction. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's very flattering and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to
Welcome
have
in.
you.
I'm just
Thanks.
gonna send a quick ping to the friends, remind them that our friends have joined us to start sharing. If you guys have any visuals that you want to share, you guys can share it to the screen. I can turn my screen sharing off. If you guys want to turn on your camera, you're more than welcome to turn on your camera, show your beautiful faces. They love it here. They love seeing us. They love learning more about us. They're very a very curious, inquisitive bunch. They love learning. They're super creative, and most of them are very focused around like content and media creation on X. So it kind of vibes really well with you guys with what you guys are doing, especially for some of our more like graphic creators and video creators. They're more artistic and they're more like almost tied into film and creating on a smaller level maybe than like a full movie, but similar.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
All right. Let me just tag these guys and get these knuckleheads in here. Guests have joined the stage. Tune in to hear more. Uh, all right. So, is there anything specific that you wanted to share with us today, Joseph or Michael? Correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's Michael and Joseph. The way that we understood this was he was going to just share like a whole workshop on screenwriting and how to really get a production kind of put together.
Oh hell yeah! Let's do it.
Yeah, and then we'll also talk about the creator economy, which is changing things. And we're going to talk about, one of the most important things is that if you're starting off as a creator, really understanding who you are, because that's one of the very first things that you need to solve when you're thinking about the story you want to tell, but also that's what investors are going to want to see, production companies are going to want to see. So, a little workshop relating to understanding your own why and why it is that you're doing what you're doing, rather than just running around trying to chase clicks and dollars and things like that.
Okay. So, what exactly are you diving into with the workshop in full today? Like, where are you taking us? What are we exploring?
Well, to begin with, I think it's really important for people to understand what a story is. And just let me know when you'd like us to get started.
Yeah, we're good to go whenever. I did stop sharing the screen. Yep. Hey, there you go.
Hi, how are you?
All right. You're welcome to share your video. If you look at the bottom, you can see your share screen button. You actually project your screen if you want to display any visual aids or anything that you might want to show off along the way.
Yep. So that one is okay. Wait a second. I don't have that ability right here for some reason. Let me see. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it should be right here on the bottom. Hmm. Let me actually just double check and make sure that you don't have some weird permission issue because you did just join.
Yeah,
It might be.
it's grayed out for me, and I'm not sure why, but it is grayed out.
Usually that's because I'm sharing and I just turned the share off. So let me stop sharing again. See if maybe that pops up for you. In the meantime, I will double check your permissions. Profile. You have CJN Friends. We're going to toss you a guest speaker here. And now maybe hopefully you have that option.
Nope, nope, still isn't coming up, but that's okay.
Hey, Discord. Discord is always a pain, but
Well,
it's one of
we
the
might
easiest ways to do it.
we might just be chatting today, which would be all right. Great to see everybody here. Hello. Wonderful that we're in this digital community where people can come in from all over the country, all over the world, and we can talk about some of these things.
Yeah, we actually have a really large, like most of our base is everything but like US, Canada, and Europe. A lot of our creators here are like scrappy African, South American, Southeast
Right?
Asian individuals.
Right?
Usually the underserviced, underprivileged regions of the world. And they take opportunities in creating content and participating in contests for awards and stuff, and they do really well. Some of them rival some of the KOL content I've seen out there in this space. It's kind of crazy.
That's great. Well, gosh, it's fantastic that we're all here together. All right, do we want to wait a few more minutes, or should we just get started? What do you think?
We can just start diving into it if you'd like.
Great.
I'm gonna actually be messing around with the permissions here for a minute while you get started, so I can allow you to share a video and see if maybe I can get you your access the for the sharing the screen. It shouldn't be blocked from what I'm seeing, but I can mess with a couple things and see if we can get that running better.
Terrific. Get my slides over here. Just gonna move things around on my screen as well. Thanks everybody for your patience and for being so cool. I am actually in a um, I'm out in a place called Fire Island, just off of Long Island, New York. Um,
Oh,
for me personally, it's interesting. We were living in the Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles when the fires happened
oh,
on January 6th, and we left quickly, not expecting that what was going to happen ultimately happened. So, I have my wife and our three kids and our golden retriever. We loaded up our two cars with what we had left, and we decided, hey, we are going to make an adventure out of this. And so we headed north, made our way up through California, then Seattle, stayed there with which is where I'm originally from, in the San Juan Islands, and then headed towards Montana, stayed there for a while, Chicago, stayed there for a while, and now we're over in New England. Um, and so this has been an interesting adventure. I personally really love traveling. I love fish out of water stories. I love international, cross cultural stories. I think they're really important. I think as the world grows smaller because of digital communication, it's really important to be interacting with different people in different cultures and figuring out um, how to break down barriers. So, as I think about storytelling, there are a couple things that are really important to me, and we can get into that a little bit later. But Just really thrilled to be with you guys and to talk about story, because whether you're thinking about podcasting, whether you're in writing books, whether you want to make feature films or work in this incredibly booming creator economy, in the end, we're all talking about the same thing, and that is story. And what are stories, and why are they such an effective way of holding on to people's attention and then translating that into something that's more than just entertainment, hopefully, right? But something that actually matters. And so I wish that I could pull this up on my screen, because that's the that's the first slide. So I
If
teach.
you'd like, you can actually double check that button. I did adjust one of the settings, and it might have kicked that option open for you.
It's still grayed out for me, so there
Ah,
may be a little something wrong, but that's okay. That's okay. We can just talk about it.
okay.
Um, and so, by the way, how do you pronounce your first name?
Oh, mine? I go by Taurus. I'm Frank. I'm known everywhere on the internet as Taurus Rush though. So it's just how
Oh,
I
Taurus.
yeah, my
All
gamer
right,
name.
cool. All right, cool. Well, thanks, Taurus. My handle is Professor Trojan because I am a professor at the University of Southern California, and we're the Trojans, the USC Trojans. Um, so I've been teaching there now for many years and running a program called Digital Media Management. But before that, I was a musician when I was a kid, and I started off as like a classical concert pianist, and then became a singer. And we all have these big turning moments in life. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But for me, I faced this crisis that happened when I was graduating from undergrad at the University of Washington in Seattle. And I didn't want to be a classical piano player anymore, because I just didn't love sitting in a practice room for hours and hours and hours a day alone. I really like people, and I didn't like the idea of playing notes that were written hundreds of years ago by somebody I'd never met. It really wasn't creative. For anybody here who's been a classical musician, there's actually almost nothing creative about it. You're executing, pushing these black and white buttons, and you're executing other people's creativity. And I just wanted something more, but I wasn't sure what. I actually graduated from college very young. I was 18 when I graduated from the University of Washington, because I was many years ahead in school. And so I was trying to be a composer. I'm sorry. I was trying to be a conductor, and I was going to go to graduate school and try to transition out of being a pianist into becoming a conductor. And um, I went for this conducting interview, and I the next day the professor called me in and he said, "Listen, I'm just going to cut right to the chase and tell you we're going to dispense with all the waiting. You're not getting into this program." And I said to him, well, "What do you why okay, well, why?" And he said, "I'll never forget this." He said, "Because you don't really love music. You just don't know it yet." And I went, "What are you talking about? I spent my whole life doing nothing but music, and was working at a pretty, high level and touring. I toured around the world, and I'd invested so much, my whole life really, into it. Anyway, I was going to fly back, and I had some time to kill that afternoon, and there was a little small movie theater, and I thought, well, I've always just loved the movies, but the idea of being in the movie industry was so far away from anything that I knew of. Having grown up in the San Juan Islands and living in Seattle, it wasn't even a thought of being in the movie industry. So I just went to go watch this movie. And I don't know if anybody's seen this, because we're going back 25 years now. It's called October Sky. It was the one of the first movies that Jake Gyllenhaal ever made.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Do
that one.
you remember that one? All
Oh
right.
yeah.
And it's the story about a boy who's living in a small town, right? And it's a coal mining town. And his father is the head coal miner, and he's played by Chris Cooper. And it's the dad's pretty tough on him, and sort of, there's this expectation. You're born into this coal mining community, and what you do is you go on into the ground to go mine coal. That's what you do. And right in the beginning of the movie, the Russian satellite Sputnik, the Russians had launched it, and it went over his town. And this boy, this high school boy, looks up and he goes, "I don't want to go underground. I want to go into space." And he starts, and this is a true story. He starts down this road of becoming and trying to dream this impossible dream of learning how to make rockets and understand amateur rocketry. And at the end of this true story, this boy goes on, and this is a bit of a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it, but he bands together with his friends, and it's a very entrepreneurial endeavor actually. And they start off making these little rockets and ultimately medium-sized rockets, and then finally they win the national science fair. And the real through line of the story is that he really his is a big disappointment to his father. And at the very end of the movie, the dad comes in and he actually watches his son shoot off his rocket for the first time, and they have this incredible moment. And I cried sitting in this movie theater by myself. I just cried, and I just remember distinctly feeling, gosh, if I could make somebody feel this inspired, that would be that's something that would be worth spending the rest of my life trying to figure out how to do.
That movie
So
really resonated with me too. It really did. I was like it was pretty young when that came out, and I went out and started making rockets.
did you?
I did, and I I made a rocket, and it was supposed to go up, and it went up about maybe 10 feet, and then just went completely horizontal, just like a
Wow.
missile right towards our
But
neighbor's
good for
shed.
you, right? You gave it a shot. You tried at it. That's so powerful. That's great. Good for you, man.
It
That's
was very
awesome. I can't wait to hear
inspirational,
more about
though.
that. Wow, cool. All right. So yeah, I mean this and to me that word inspire is what it's always been about. Like everybody's some people it's about balance, for some people it's about achievement. To me, inspiration is it is like the fuel of the human race. And for people to, especially people early on in life when they're young, to get that feeling of being inspired and to find their mission and figure out what they're supposed to do, like that's like the most important thing to me, right? So I've spent so much of my life trying to figure out how to be what I'm supposed to do and help other people be inspired. And I just love stories that are about that. Anyway, so here's what happened. Sorry, I don't mean to make this into a story about me, but this is important because we're about to start talking about stories. So I had this crisis moment, and let's hold on to this word, right? I had this crisis moment where my music career was going to come to an end, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. And I was just suddenly, now you're thinking about what's going to happen next, where before you just are trudging along the same old path. I went back to Seattle and was trying to figure out what to do. And I decided I wasn't quite ready to give up the music industry entirely. I just knew I didn't want to be a classical piano guy anymore. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to go to graduate school, and I'm going to try to be, work in the music business. And I'll be like I'll go get like an MBA with a specialization in like music. Anyway, so I did my application, took all the tests and everything, and I waited and waited and waited, and then I got my letter, and I was turned down again. And the craziest thing happened. I was standing there feeling so deflated and saying like,
Yeah.
God, what the heck am I supposed to do? I was holding the letter in my hand. I am not making this up or exaggerating this in any way. I was holding the rejection letter in my hand, and then I heard a knock on the door, and the manager of my apartment building said, "Joseph." And this is weird. It was a strange coincidence. I was living in an apartment on the exact same street, in the exact same house that I grew up in, where I first became a classical pianist as a child, and was doing those, hours and hours and hours of just piano practice. I was living 5 doors down from the same house that I had grown up in. And the manager knocked on the door and he said, "That house is on fire." And I walked up the street, I just opened the door, I walked right out, I walked right up the street, still holding this letter in my hand. And I stood there, and, it's like a scene from a movie, watching your childhood house burn all the way to the ground. And I was like, okay, whoa, this is like a sign. I am not supposed to keep holding on to the past. That's the way I interpret it anyway. I'm not supposed to keep holding on to the past. It is time to head into something new. And I thought back to, that feeling that I had watching October Sky just, about 2 years prior to that. I walked right inside the house. I picked up the phone and I called the one person that I knew who had worked in the Hollywood film industry many, many years before. And I said, "Here's the story. What should I do? I'm ready to really make this change." And he said, "Well, if there's any way that you could figure out how to go to the USC Film School, you might just have a chance because that's the best incubator for filmmakers in the whole wide world." And and he said, "But like nobody gets into that place." And it's true. They take 50 people a year into their graduate filmmaking program out of yeah, it's something like 10,000 applications. But I told this story and I got in. And so in my early 20s, I moved to LA and went to USC for film school, and then moved forward from there with some close friends and allies that I made in school. And it's just another crazy thing. The movie that I loved best when I was a little kid was called Top Gun, and I just watched it, about 10,000 times, just over and over and over. And when I got to USC, it turned out that the head of the screenwriting program, his name is Jack Epps, wrote Top Gun. And I was like flabbergasted. Like, what do you mean? So I got into his class, and for my thesis, I wrote a screenplay. It's called Lost and Found. And I worked with this amazing guy who became my mentor, and we just became family friends. And anyway, so I wrote this screenplay called Lost and Found, and then with sort of stubborn determination, it took about 10 years and God knows how many rewrites, and producers came and went, and financiers came and went. But after 10 years, we uh, took that movie into production. We made it. It was bought by Sony. It was distributed by AMC Movies in movie theaters all over the world. And that was a pretty incredible dream that took some time, but came true. So, anyway, thank you for indulging me. I didn't mean to go into that whole long backstory, but I do think that, thinking about, for anybody who's listening, right, your life is a story. Um, but there are certain moments in your life that are the turning points, and then there's big stretches of life where we're just going down the same path, and that's not so interesting. Um, and it's not going to captivate anybody's attention. But for me, for sure. All right, so we can just start jumping into this. We can start jumping into this quote unquote workshop that we're thinking about.
Well, I will say
Um,
this, you and I were kind of talking a little bit about this earlier. I truly believe that there really are there's moments in your life where pieces do seem to come together, and it does take someone who has like courage and vision to really seize and go after those opportunities, to really take a look and see, because it is outside of your comfort zone
yeah,
to jump into that whenever you already. I think that was so brave of you, standing there in front of your house like that, your childhood home, and recognizing that a path forward came from that, that it
hmm
wasn't a path backwards, that
yeah,
you were holding on to something that needed to be let go of so you could move on and become what you were supposed to be. A lot of us will get opportunities like that and then not
Yeah.
live up to our potential just because it's more comfortable not to do that.
yeah. Oh no, thank you for saying that. I so agree with that. It's there's a something that I've really come to believe, and that's bad news is good news in disguise. And in the moment, it just feels like the worst thing. But a little bit of time. If you wait 6 months, 12 months, and you look back, you go, "Oh my gosh, that needed to happen so that this other great thing could happen." One of my favorite songs is "God Bless the Broken Road" by Rascal Flatts, and it's all about this idea that somewhere in this crisis and in this just crushing disappointment, that there's something really transcendent just waiting to happen. And it's funny because my wife and I've been talking about this a whole bunch. We went to church like a couple of days before the fires in LA happened, and it was the beginning of the new year, right? So like the pastor would always give that sermon about like, okay, new beginnings and everything. And he made this point that I thought was really interesting. He said, sometimes if God wants you to make a change in your life, you're so tethered to so many different things that you're not ready to do it. So God will just start taking things away. Right? He'll take away your job or take away your girlfriend or boyfriend. Just take away this, take away that, so that you're untethered enough that now you have the ability to move. So for me, right, like owning multiple companies, family, kids in school, all these things. I mean, we were tethered like boom, like a tent that's got those stakes and wires. Like we were not going anywhere. Then the fires came 2 days after this sermon, and we just kept thinking like, wait a minute, does this mean it's time for us to make a move? We've been in LA for 20 plus years. um, Hollywood is changing very much. All the things that we believed in and that we loved, film production is moving to different places. It's becoming more global and digital. Should we just try to find another place and go there in the midst of this horrible thing that's happened here in LA? Or maybe it's time maybe it's time to try something new. So we just packed up our cars, put our kids in online school, and headed out across the country. And
I don't want to
now,
be that guy, but it seems to me like God communicates to you through house fires.
I
Is that
know,
what's going on?
isn't that crazy? I know that's the second time.
That's
I mean, what the
terrible.
heck? What
Up
the
another
heck?
fire. It's time to move across the country. Um,
So
jeez.
strange. I mean, what the heck? It's just like there's got to be an easier way here. And also I want to say I think that it's really it's dangerous to try to understand these signs and go, oh, God's telling me to do that. Like, okay, wait a minute.
Right.
Nobody understands the mind of like God, and I don't know how what people believe or don't believe, and my relationship with God and what God is continues to change, and anybody who thinks that they know what God's all about, I say, okay, don't kid yourself. God's whatever God is and whatever God's up to, it's far beyond our understanding. So we should all be a little careful about how we interpret these signs, quote unquote, that are being sent to us, because we could interpret those things completely the wrong way, um, based on a whole set of circumstances. But anyway, uh, there's a word lately that I'd love to share if I could, that is really important to me now. Dallas, you and I were just talking about this a couple days ago, and it's the word matter. I'm 45 now. You know, I want to do things that matter. There were times when I was thinking about fame, celebrity, money, and all the different, right? Now I'm thinking about things that matter, because when you're about halfway through your life, um, you, there's not enough time to just be thinking about, oh, I have enough time to do everything. No, you don't anymore. And I didn't when I was 20, right? I didn't then. We have to do things that matter. And that word is pretty amazing because it means a couple things. On the one hand, it's I want to do things that make a difference, things that matter, right? That's that kind of matter, stories that matter. But on the other side, matter is mass. Matter is something that you can touch, something that's tactile and that's real. So storytellers and great communicators are the people, and for anybody here who's on, and we're all thinking together, right? We are the storytellers. We are the ones who have to take ideas that somehow go through this transmutation, alchemy is this word that means like, oh, we're going to turn water into wine, or we're going to turn brass into gold. It's not real. But in the world of communication, there are people who can take ideas and turn them into reality. And so, as I think about storytelling, and as I think about um, building businesses and putting teams together, I think about how important it is to do things that matter, so that you can. Because if you can't tell a story that matters, if it's just fluffy entertainment, then it's never going to drive action and change. And that to me is what stories are really about. Okay. So the reason why stories matter within communication, and we're not even talking about movies and screenwriting and story structure yet. We're zooming way out first into into the why of it all. But one of the really important things here is this: if you want to communicate something, and if you want to learn something or teach someone something, you're not thinking when somebody's just giving you information, and it's like you can't hold on to information. And this is, by the way, research backed. Information alone does not stick, and it does not stay in the minds of your audience, whether you're teaching them math or history or telling them about your product. Information alone doesn't do it. It has to be combined with emotion. Information plus emotion suddenly make things sticky. That's why, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday unless I really think about it. But I can remember something emotional that happened months or years ago because suddenly that made my different parts of my brain come to life, and now I care, right? And then there's a third thing, which is context is really important. You can't just give someone information and emotion to make it truly sticky. You have to place it within a contextual framework that people understand. And now suddenly people can hold on to it, and it might embed itself and make a really big difference. So then there's another really important question when we think about stories, and that's, this question of like, well, and this happened when I went to USC, and we were making, in our first initial class, we were all making our little short films and trying to understand how cameras and editing and all these things work. And the teachers kept saying, story, story, story. You've got to tell great stories. And I got really frustrated. And I raised my hand and I said to the professors, I said, okay, so all right, what is a story? And they couldn't really give me an answer, like a good answer, which to me was kind of made me mad. Like, you should know what a story is. More importantly than just what is a story, it's what makes a story compelling, a compelling story. So usually when I ask people like, what's a story? And we go around, but they would say, well, it's a sequence of events. That's the thing I hear a lot. It's a sequence of events. This happened, then this happened, then that happened, and this happened. Okay, kind of. That's kind of a story, but it's certainly not a compelling story. And that word compel is really important because the root of the word compelling is compel. It compels someone to actually do something, not just to think about it or go, oh, that's nice. If you want to make a difference with your business or with your movie or with your show or with your Discord channel, you have to, we want to drive action and create impact. And the only way to do that is to tell a compelling story that will compel people to action. All right. And a simple sequence of events alone is not compelling. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what happened on a Wednesday in February. They don't care. It doesn't matter. There's that word again. Now, I thought a lot about this and I watched a ton of movies and thought about different moments and stories that we've heard that really compel people to action. And I wish I could share my screen because I'd show you this idea that I have of like it's a picture of what a story is. Okay, but I'll just do it with my finger if you can see me. And if you're just listening, then you'll just have to use your imagination. Life is moving in a straight line this direction, left to right, and then all of a sudden, and this is going to be true if you think of Star Wars or Harry Potter or a great anime that you might like, anything you can think of. Life is going in a normal direction, and then all of a sudden something happens, right? An asteroid hits Earth. The stormtroopers come in Luke Skywalker's case, and they kill your aunt and uncle, and now you really are totally alone in the world, right? You're Harry Potter, and suddenly this letter comes out of nowhere that says you're invited to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and all of a sudden now your life is thrown into this like chaos. And usually what people are trying to do, think about the Wizard of Oz, another great example, right? The tornado came. Dorothy was living her normal life. The tornado came, and now all of a sudden Dorothy is taken away to Oz, right? What is she trying to do? It's what anybody would try to do. It's just human nature. We just want to get back to normal. We just want to go back to the way things were. So in life, if you've lost your job, if you've lost your the person that you really didn't like, you know, anything that happens, you're like, well, I just want to get back to that, back to normal. And life goes into this crazy chaos of trying to figure out how to do that. But you can't go back to normal, right? And so at the end of a story, the end of a really good story, your life is now heading on a new trajectory. It was going this way, a bunch of crazy stuff happens, and now it's going that way. So that hinge moment of life is is the story. It's not the, oh, we're going in the straight line over here. We're not. It's not even afterwards when you're heading hopefully in a new and newer and better direction. It's all about that moment when everything changes. So stories are defined by crisis and change. You know, people don't willingly change, just like, you know, our story of what has happened to us so far in 2025, right? It's some kind of a crisis forces us to be in this place where now we have to change. And if there's no change, there's no story. Okay, so just please put that in your little lockbox of storytelling principles. Like, if there's no change, there's no story. So I would just say for anybody who might be listening that just take heart if you're in the middle of one of those life storms, because this moment is one of those story moments of your life, and there is something amazing that is just imbued and embedded in this moment. Something wonderful is there, whether it's a new business idea or maybe a geographic change that you need to make. And some years later, let's just say you use this as an opportunity to start a new business, right? The If you're pitching your story to investors, they're going to want to know, well, how'd you come up with the idea for this new business, or why did you make this change? If you can say, well, it all happened because of this crisis that happened, and out of that, I don't know if anybody here knows the story of like Airbnb. Indulge me for a second and I'll tell it to you, because you know it's great to be thinking of not just about these narrative movie TV ideas, right, but also about businesses, because as creators we are entrepreneurs whether we realize it or not. The story of Airbnb is a really good one. In And for anybody who's stayed in an Airbnb, crazy idea, crazy idea. we're gonna we're gonna go stay at a stranger's house, or we're gonna let that stranger come and stay at our house. Well, when the founders of Airbnb were living in San Francisco, they were just a couple of ordinary dudes living in an apartment. Their landlord raised the rent twice because he wanted to get them out of there, and they had about a 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks, something like that, to come up with $600 extra, as I think the number. There was a there were no hotels available because there were like two concerts happening that weekend, and maybe some conferences, and I don't know, like the Golden State Warriors were in the finals or something, and so there were no hotel rooms left in town. The founders of Airbnb went, well, you know what we've got? We've got 3 air mattresses and, you know, some cereal. Why don't we put an ad on Craigslist that if anybody needs a place to stay, they can come over and sleep on our air beds, and we'll give them some breakfast in the morning. That's why it's called Air Bed and Breakfast, because there were 3 air beds and a box of cereal. They made enough money to cover their rent, and they went, this might just be a thing. And it was that crisis that forced them to come up with this idea that ultimately became what is now, it's the largest lodging platform in the entire world. And Airbnb is worth more than any other hotel group in the world, and they don't own a single room, right? They just figured out how to build this digital platform. So anyway, that's a side note for entrepreneurs who are thinking about stories. But let's talk about a movie story, right? To talk about this example of like everything's normal, something happens in screenwriting. It's called an inciting incident. And then chaos, 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 crisis, 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 and then change, right? So there's a movie that I just love that follows this so well. I definitely was so touched the first time I saw it. I've seen it lots of times, called How to Train Your Dragon. You know that
I
movie?
love that movie.
Right?
I absolutely
That
love that
movie was
movie,
it was
and
a
I
great
love the
movie.
music. I love the
Great.
music in that movie too. The score is incredible.
Yeah.
It's, oh my
The
gosh.
score is incredible. I mean, everything. It's one of the perfect movies. You know, it's so hard to do because movies as we were discussing, right? Movies are they're the toughest art form because they're like every art form.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's not like, oh, let's just play a piece of music. No, movies are acting, story, lighting, costumes, sets, music, editing, right? Just like everything. It's all in one and somehow has to be pulled together into this little cocktail that unfolds in an abbreviated amount of time. Uh, and here's the other thing that's the hardest about movies, right? So we're both musicians, right? People don't judge music all that harshly because they're not musicians. So you can play music for them and they'll go, "Oh, that sounds pretty good," right? They
Yeah.
don't speak music. But in movies, everybody is an expert in human nature, human behavior, and stories. We all live them. And so in a second, you can watch a movie and go, "That feels fake. That just feels
Absolutely.
wrong and false and sort of stupid or corny or whatever," right? And so that's why movies are so hard. But coming back to How to Train Your Dragon for a second. So as that movie started, who was our main guy? Do you remember the kid's name?
Hiccup.
Hiccup, right? And he's the son of the.
Stoic the Vast. I love the movie, man.
He's like the son of the Viking chief, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you remember how what was happening in the very first scene?
Oh yeah. He was introducing his island and why it was a problem to be there, but they belong there because they're Vikings
Right.
and they were all under attack.
They were right there. You go. They were under attack by what?
Dragons.
Right. And they're flying around, and those dragons are just like torching their village. You know, it's the
Yep.
middle of the night, and all the Vikings are shooting spears and arrows and all kinds of stuff and trying to kill these Vikings, and the Vikings are trying to kill them. It's the first scene of the movie. So then that establishes what we call in screenwriting the status quo. Like, what's normal? Like, this is normal. This is the normal world that we all live in. This is going to be true, guys. If you think about Luke Skywalker, who lived on the planet, or Harry Potter, who lived in London and he's just an orphan, or just about anything that you can think of. You've got to establish normal. Okay, then what happened? Hiccup almost accidentally shot down the number one most like feared badass dragon, that Night Fury, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Night Fury. So he almost accidentally shoots down this Night Fury and then has to go and figure out how he's going to find it and kill it. But something shifts in him when he is about to kill that dragon and he just can't do it. So then he decides that he's going to be like ET, and this is a somewhat well known story paradigm and archetype, right? That he's going to become the friend of this alien creature, keep it a secret, and they're going to try and just figure that out, right? So then now all the chaos of his life happens. You know, they want to put him into dragon killer training, and meanwhile he's got to figure out, he feels really bad because he shot off the like the little wing fin thing of the dragon, and he's got to use his engineering to figure that whole thing out, and meanwhile there's more dragon attacks and all that crazy stuff is happening. So by the end, what happens? By the end, what happens after his father like disowns him, which is just so heartbreaking. By the end, he ends up making this. He befriends this dragon. They actually go and save the day because he enlists his friends, who at first think he's absolutely insane, and they work together to actually save the day. And what happens at the very very end? The last scene of the movie. First of all, he's had in this beautiful parallel. He gets his own foot shot off, just the way that he had shot off the dragon's wing fin. And now suddenly the only way they can fly is if they do it together. Him with his foot that's now made of metal, and this dragon. They actually need each other. And and the final scene of that movie, it's no longer nighttime, now it's daytime. And in this perfect bookend, all of the dragons are flying around with Vikings. They're not now, they're living in harmony, right? And they're all flying. So here's what's amazing about that movie and about any movie, right? Or any story. So in a good story, because again, there has to be change. So in a good story, the main character's exterior life changes, right? Hey, I got a new car, I got a new job, I got a better house, I moved to Paris, whatever, right? So in a good story, their exterior life changes. In a very good story, that main character's heart and their point of view also change. They've gone from, I was afraid, now I'm brave. I was selfish, now I give, right? I lived with a mentality of like poverty. Now I have this mentality of abundance. And so inside as a character, in my spirit, I've changed. Okay. So think of any really good story that you've seen. That's what happens. Now, what I want to say though is that there's the third level, and that's a great story. And in a great story, that main character, not only do they change exterior, interior, but they also create a paradigm shift that changes whatever their world is, whether it's the world of wizards, the world of Vikings, or the world of, we were talking about Luke Skywalker, right? The world of Jedi and the Empire, right? They change the world in which they live. And it's not just for them, but it's for everyone. So going back to October Sky, he didn't just become this teenage boy who learned how to shoot rockets and won the National Science Fair and got to go to college. He changed the mentality of his entire town. Now suddenly everyone went, wait a minute, we can all go to college. Wait a minute, there is something other than just like knowing that I have to go into the ground to become a coal miner and probably get lung cancer and then like die, and that's my whole life. We can all become something else. So that's the big challenge for all of us when we tell stories or when we're thinking about how to build businesses. I think that's really important for anybody here who's thinking about how to build a business and build a new life. You can't just think about how it's going to help you. You have to think about how it is going to make an impact for others. And that is what's going to get people to invest in you. That's what's going to get people to partner with you. It's what's going to make people want to, buy your products and become your customers because you're promising, you're affirming, you're calling out this idea that we are actually going to change our world. Maybe not the whole world. That's okay. You don't need to change the whole world, but you can change your world in some way. Whatever that world is, it could be your industry, could be your town, could be your digital community that we all have. So this idea in stories of a paradigm shift is really core. See, I'm such a teacher now. I'm like, are there any questions? I wish that we could like talk about it and ask some questions about it.
Uh,
But I
the-
guess
I mean, they're welcome to ask any questions about anything that you've said, and I'm happy to like point them out for you, note them down.
yeah.
But yeah, I love it when these guys get involved, and
Okay.
usually
All
they're
right. Well,
just
anybody who wants
paying.
to chime in, please do. I'm not sure how to open my. So maybe you could just help me
If
to.
you if you look at the top right on your screen when
Yeah.
you move your mouse, there should be a little chat bubble that says "Show Chat,"
Let
and
me
it
see
would.
here. Is there a chat bubble on my screen?
You're crushing this, Taurus. You are doing great. Like I found that chat bubble in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't have it on my screen
I've-
because I have my slides on one half of my screen, and I had shrunk down the Discord
Oh, you
window
got it
so
all
small that
shrunk
I
down.
couldn't see it.
yeah. I have a few monitors, so it helps usually.
Yeah, nice, nice, good for you. All right, cool. So why don't we talk about story and storytelling, not just at this high level. Now we can talk about screenwriting for just a second. So um, it works. It works like this. Again, in the beginning, has everybody here heard of the 3-act structure? The 3-act structure is a pretty well-known, well-worn, tried and true way of approaching storytelling. So in the beginning of the first act, you establish the status quo. And by the way, I've always thought it should be a 4-act structure because the first act is like, let's just say it's a 2-hour movie. The first act is 30 minutes. The second act is an hour, and then the final act is 30 minutes. which, it's like, why don't we just call it four acts? Four act structure. Okay, so just go down this road with me for a second. It'll make a little bit of sense. In the beginning of the first act, you establish the status quo. You establish normal. I was just watching Bruce Almighty with my kids the other night, which is a pretty darn good movie. Liar Liar is another good one. Both
Oh,
made by
so
Jim
good.
Carrey,
Oh, that
both
one was
made by
great.
the same director, Tom Shadyac, who's just an awesome, awesome guy. So you establish normal, whatever that is. Okay. Then at the end of the first part of the first act, there's this thing called the inciting incident. When that comes, it's like something comes down and it just breaks the status quo. It breaks the normal. In Luke Skywalker's case, the droid comes, right? R2D2 shows up. He gets that little message from Princess Leia, and he's like, "Whoa, life's no longer just normal." Right? In the beginning, he's like this boy. He's a little impetuous. He's a little stubborn. He's like, "I want to get off this stupid planet. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being a farmer. I want to go off and do something bigger with my life." And they're like, "No, maybe next season. You can't go now." So the inciting incident comes. You can just imagine this in any movie that you could think of. And now suddenly something is shifted. Whoa, something big is shifted. And so then they're trying to that main character is their life is thrown into some chaos. They're just trying to figure out how to handle this and what to do. But by the end of the first act, which is roughly 30 minutes into a 2-hour movie, um, that main character has to make a decision that's going to change things. So in Harry Potter, it's when he actually goes to Hogwarts. In Star Wars, it's when the Empire comes, kills his aunt and uncle, and now he truly has nothing, and there's no reason for him to stay on this planet anymore. And he decides that he's going to leave his town. He's going to get together with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's leaving home. So at the end of 30 minutes, that's called the act break. It's the end of the first act. The main character is now heading into the rest of their life. In Bruce Almighty, it's when Morgan Freeman says, "You're endowed with all my powers. You now have, I'm taking a vacation. It's up to you." And Jim Carrey goes, "Whoa, now I have God powers? Now I have God powers." Okay, so now the second act begins, and the main character is going on their journey. And the beginning of the second act is what we call the fun part. It's what the movie trailers are all about. Now the main character is like, Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts. Like, oh my gosh, this is Hogwarts. There's Quidditch, and I can do spells, and Draco Malfoy's a jerk, and I've got Ron and Hermione, and isn't this great? So like that's called the fun part of the movie. In Liar Liar, now suddenly he can't tell a lie, and it's all really funny. And Bruce Almighty, now he's got the powers of God, and he's using it for like, to blow up girls' skirts and pull in the moon. And it's all the kind of craziness of that. Okay, in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker meets up with Han Solo. They get on the Millennium Falcon, right? All of these things happen. That's the beginning of the second act, or if we're changing this into a 4-act structure and breaking a 2-hour movie into 30-minute increments, right? You can think of that. Now, the midpoint comes. Now we're an hour into the movie, and the fun is coming to an end, because at this point you just can't keep that up forever. So if you're plotting out your movie, at the midpoint of a movie, something comes, some new. It's almost like a second inciting incident that raises the stakes of the movie, raises the stakes. And now all of a sudden the fun is over, and like, whoa, things are going to a new level, right? Now the main character has a new set of problems, a new set of objectives. It's like a video game, right? Like, you beat the first level, you beat the first boss. Now we're going to the second level. Guess what? There's a whole bunch of new enemies and new bosses. I'm gonna have to reinvent myself again. So in that next 30-minute chunk, let's call that the third act before we get to the fourth act, the main character is now coming to terms with and grappling with this whole new set of problems, and they have to take new tactics to solve their problem. In Star Wars, now they're on the Death Star. They've got to figure out how to get off the Death Star. Pretty amazing. In How to Train Your Dragon, they've now he can fly, which is awesome, but he's discovered that there's this really bad dragon the bad dragon that all the other dragons are actually afraid of. There's like this nest, there's a hive, right? The stakes have been raised. Everything is more dangerous than it ever was before. And now suddenly the main character, it's not fun anymore. Now it's like now, you know, shit's gotten real. Okay?
They really had to scale that up, man. He was flying on a dragon for Pete's sake. I
I know.
mean, they had
Right,
to
but they,
really make it intense.
all right, you can't leave it there for long. Now we've got a new problem, okay? So that's the idea. So now we're in the third act. Now we're dealing with that problem. And at the end of that third act, now we're about 90 minutes into a 2 hour movie. The main character, everything falls apart, and we reach the character's low point. In October Sky, the boy decided he was going to give up on his dream because his father had gotten hurt, and he said, "Well, I guess I'm going to have to go into the factory now, down into the coal mine, and I'm going to give up on this stupid rocket dream, and I'm giving up." And he takes all of his stuff, and they burn down their rocket shed. Remember where they were like doing all their testing? In Star Wars, what happens? Obi-Wan Kenobi gets killed by Darth Vader, right? Another parent figure that he had is now gone. He's even more alone than ever before. Um, Die Hard is my favorite action movie of all time. It's the moment where he runs across the glass and he's sitting in that bathroom on the walkie-talkie talking to, the that his kind of like partner friend who's been on the radio with him the whole time, and he sits there, he's pulling glass out of his feet and he's crying and he says, I just want you to he realizes I'm going to die. Like this is impossible. I'm going to die. And I never really got a chance to tell my wife that I love her and that I am sorry. And it's this incredible confessional moment. In Lost and Found, this movie that I made, the boy goes into this underground area, and the door closes behind him. He is effectively buried alive, and it is like the moment where the mission is gone, all hope is lost, and it's the time for death. Okay, so at that moment, the character is now in their lowest point. It seems like everything there's no chance, but then they get this glimmer of like, maybe if I try a different tactic, and this is where the main character, we were talking before about how it has to be about how a character has a lesson to learn. If they, think about Hiccup, right? He started the movie and he was sort of like this weakling. He didn't really have the bravery to stand up to his dad or stand up for what was right. That's his character arc that he needs to go on. So in that moment, the main character goes, "It's time for me to try a new tactic, but this time it's not going to be about me anymore. This time it's going to be about doing something for the greater good of everybody in my life and everybody who's involved. And I'm going to make a change in my tactics and I'm going to give it one last shot. I'm going to give it one last shot to try things, but now in a new way. And I'm going to embrace my destiny, and become the person, man or woman or boy or girl, right, or tiger or tigress or whatever that I was always meant to be. And I am going to head off in this new direction, and I'm going to try it a new way." And this is where the climax begins. And the main character begins to go down this road of like, it's like the final battle, right? But this time they're coming at it in this new way. They're hopefully have friends, or they've found some new, weapons or tools that are going to help them do what they need to do, and they're going to give it one last shot. And in the process of giving it one last shot, all of the things that you've planted throughout your story all along the way, planting and payoff is a really important part of all storytelling. um, that the main character goes into the final climax, whatever it is. Hopefully, there's a lot of action and exciting, and everything changes. Even if you're not telling an action movie, there's a way to create a lot of intensity, a lot of conflict, and the main character ultimately comes out victorious. Hopefully, at the end, unless it's a tragedy. Which is also an amazing story structure. And then the main character doesn't get what they want because their fatal flaw has now been exposed, and the movie ends tragically. But in a more feel good sort of a movie, the main character wins the day, wins the battle, and they've changed somehow on the inside. They're brave, right? They're selfless, or maybe a combination of more than one, just one thing. Okay, so and then at the very end, right, the world has changed. The world has changed, and now the movie ends, and we go, gosh, who knows what's going to happen next for this world and this main character? Who knows where this could go for them? And that's why they make sequels, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but but this story structure of change is something. And by the way, every scene of your movie or your TV show or whatever it is that you're making, every scene should be built like this. New information, there should be a change of some kind. There should be a crisis of some kind. The main character shouldn't just go along with, whatever it is that they should be. They shouldn't just be like, okay, I'll change. They don't want to do it. Characters are resistant at first. They're a little stubborn. They're not ready to learn whatever that lesson is. So if you think of a movie script as like a whole series within this larger structure that we've just laid out, if you think about it as a whole series of little small stories where there's a change and a crisis of some kind that's happening, then now each scene will be alive. It won't just be like, oh, we're going through the motions, right? That's boring, very very boring. Um,
So it's like a formula in a way, and if is I saw one of the questions from at Crib. He was asking, well, can the story begin with a tragedy, and then there's change from there instead of it beginning with normal? And I think, yeah, you could just you input whatever scenario in the beginning, but you have to make sure that there's shift, change, dynamic. The formula only works if you follow it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can definitely start with a tragedy. And these days, by the way, because people's attention spans are very short, we have to grab people, hook people like immediately, right? And so we see that now a lot of the time in episodic TV or shows or things that might happen on on the web somewhere that we're watching. Um, Sorry, there's a loud beeping right outside my door. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not.
I actually can hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard the first thing that I went to was like a fire alarm, smoke
I know. Here we
detector.
go. Fire. Something's on fire.
Yeah,
I
Better
can hear
change.
my kids out there banging around. They're all running out to the beach. Um, so
start of a conflict scene. Like, jeez, a tragedy.
yeah, so
Oh,
so you can start right away with a tragedy, and then that way people are hooked in immediately and like, whoa, what's going to happen, right? So stories are not about things going right all the time. Stories are much more about things not going the right way. And so the sooner that you can start that, sometimes the better. Just immediately go straight to the tragedy. We see this happen a lot. Like the tragedy happens, we spend a few minutes going, oh my gosh, something awful has happened, and then like they go 1 week earlier, or 1 year earlier, or whatever, and then you jump back in time, and then you see how you got to this crisis point. But
Yeah,
generally
because I feel
speaking,
like with the tragedy, you want to have some character buy-in, right? So that people have a lot of that emotional context behind how big of a moment that was,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I see a comment right here. I'm not watching a movie if it's not dynamic enough from the beginning. I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. And in a movie, I always look at it and I go, gosh, we spend a lot of time thinking about the beginning of a movie. It's like the most important part. And so if a
it's the hook.
filmmaker or the team of filmmakers, if they can't take enough care to make it awesome right in the beginning, chances are it's not going to get better. It's just
Right.
not going to get better. Um, you know, and a lot of time it gets worse. Now, the last movie I saw in the movie theater was Superman. And now I'm sure a lot of people just love Superman, so sorry, but I thought it was terrible. I thought it was terrible. You know what I thought was good? The very, very beginning. I loved
Yeah,
the way that he was counting down, 3 years ago, 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 minutes ago, like 3 seconds ago, and
I
then
like
boom, he
that.
crashed into the planet. I was like, I turned to my wife and I went, "Hey, I think this is going to be good." Unfortunately, and I could break down all the reasons why I ultimately thought it was a pretty abject failure. I did not care for that movie at all. That was the best part of the movie, and after that, I thought it was pretty stupid. But um,
I actually don't like superhero movies. Funny enough, I've been more like an anime protagonist type. I've never gotten into like superheroes, Superman, Spider Man. Like I'm so far behind on all the new like um, universe movies and stuff, but other people love them. I don't. I just don't know why. I can't connect. But like an anime protagonist, I can connect with like the character development, like the real life connection between. Maybe it's just too far fetched or something for me. But like
Yeah.
when it comes to like fantasy, sci-fi, fiction movies, I can get into those really well too because it's an alternate world that I can imagine and become a part of and live through. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem with superhero movies is that the stakes aren't, they're not that high because they're superheroes. So, like they can overcome just about anything.
Yeah,
Here's
it's
another thing I'd love to share though, right? And we've seen this if you watch like the Avengers, right? The Avengers. The Avengers is so ridiculous because they went, and a lot of these superhero movies do this. They go, we need to raise the stakes. Once upon a time it was like, I'm gonna kill your parents. Well, that's not big enough. Now we're gonna blow up your city. Well, that's not big enough. We're gonna blow up the world. Well, that's not big enough. Now we're gonna have to figure out how to create parallel universes, or bring together the Infinity Stones so that we can blow up like the multiple universes. What? That is so bananas and so foolish and so silly, and I just hate it. So let me let you in on a little secret. The stakes of a movie, they only matter as much as they matter to the main character. If it means everything in the world to the main character, it could be that they need to go pick a flower to give to the girl that they've got a crush on just to get that girl to notice them. And if it means everything to them that they just have to pick that flower, then guess what? It's going to mean everything to us. You don't have to blow up the universe or multiple parallel stupid universes. You just have to find something that means everything in the world to the main character. Let's go back to Die Hard. In Die Hard, I sure hope everybody's seen Die Hard. If you haven't, please go watch it. It's my favorite action movie. I don't want to say the best because that's not fair. Everything's subjective, but it's my favorite action movie. You know why? Because the main guy, he bleeds. He bleeds. He gets bruised. He gets his bones broken, and then
He
he
gets
has
his
to just
ass kicked in
continue
every
on.
movie.
That's real bravery. Not if you're Captain America and somebody stomps on you and you're just like, okay, I'm fine, and you
Yep.
just keep on moving, right?
What was that other
It's
one?
not.
The one with Keanu Reeves, Speed, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one. Like just it kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time. Ugh.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the main characters, there's nothing at stake if they can't get hurt. You're right. And whatever their objective is, it has to mean everything to them. We were talking about October Sky. Who cares if a 17-year-old kid can figure out how to shoot a rocket? What difference does that make in the grand scheme of things? You know what? It meant everything in the world to him and to his friends and to that town. It meant everything in the world to them, even though in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter at all that he could shoot a rocket, 100 feet into the air, but it mattered to him. In Die Hard, they weren't trying to. He didn't care if they were blowing up a city. He just wanted to save his wife, who was splitting up with him. He just wanted to make sure that she was okay because he still loved her, and he wanted to make sure that she was going to be safe. That's all that mattered to him. And he went through this incredible, ups and downs and pain and torture and back and forth, all just because he wanted to save his girl. So anyway, keep that in mind.
And that was even
Just
in
got
the
him out of his
beginning
own
after
system.
he got cheated on and everything too. So like that's kind of crazy.
What? Wait, he didn't get cheated on
Yeah, he was gonna shoot the guy through the closet door. Remember?
in Die Hard.
I'm pretty sure it was Die Hard. He got cheated on in the first act. He was with his wife. I'm pretty sure she cheated on him. I was pretty
No,
sure
no,
of
no,
that.
definitely not. No, she just
What?
took a better job with the Nakatomi Corporation, and she moved the family across the country. He was a New York cop, and she moved to L.A. and she took the kids, and they moved to. He wasn't. There was no cheating. There was a
Could have
guy who kind of
sworn.
sleazy guy who had a little crush on her, but no, there was no cheating in that
Oh,
movie.
I'm thinking about the Last Boy Scout. Okay, that's what it is. Different
That
movie.
could be. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But the
Yeah,
Last Boy Scout is
I
not
thought
does
that
not
was
live
the
in the
movie.
pantheon of perfection that Die Hard lives in.
Yeah, no, I thought that was that
I was a
movie.
fan. Have you ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No.
I think I
That is
have.
it's a TV series with Andy Samberg, and his character is just obsessed with Die Hard, like
Oh,
obsessed with it. So they visit Los Angeles. He's like, I gotta go to Nakatomi Plaza. I gotta go, and like they literally had to make a whole day out of it just so he could go to the Nakatomi Plaza and everything. And he's like, this is the room that he was in. This is the vent that he crawled in, and like he just like
that's
went
cool.
throughout the whole building. It was pretty funny.
That's super cool. Yeah, I've been to that building lots and lots of times. It's right down the street from where we used to live. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Anyway, I don't know how much time we have left, but maybe we should talk about like the whole overall process of production of making a film. Should we talk about that? Would that be interesting?
But yeah, we did have one other question here from Virion, and she was wondering like because we ended up discussing like the fast program and everything earlier,
Uh huh.
and
And that's
trying
FFGI. Okay.
yeah, and they were just curious like if a movie was to get funded and they ended up not generating any revenue, like what would end up happening with the movie or like with people who invested, what happens with the whole situation there?
Um,
So, I mean, there's a whole process behind, making funding films, and it's all about making sure that you have the right channels for distribution afterwards if you want to make revenue. And that's one of the things that the FFGI has put a lot of effort into is making sure that we have the correct distribution channels for every project that we fund ahead of time before we even start the project. Uh, that's one of the ways to shore up success for that, as well as having a community that helps drive what type of content that we're doing. That also helps us to navigate the waters a little better because we know that what we're making has a higher chance of being accepted by the market, which helps with generating revenue. So those are ways that we shore that up.
But from a realist standpoint, like if a movie just flat out wasn't successful, it's like anything else. If a movie's not successful in real life, like in normal traditional film finance, it's just not successful. There's nothing you could have well, you possibly could have done more, or there could have been something else that you know, better screenwriting, better actors, something along those lines. But if it flops, it ultimately flops. Like it's like anything else in life, you can't guarantee
Just like any
success
movie, yeah.
100%. You know, but yeah,
Right. Absolutely. No, absolutely. That is 100% the case. Like in business and investing in anything, it's always a risk to do any type of project. At the end of the day, we put it together the best way that we can. We make sure we have
yeah.
distribution already set up. We go down the road that it needs to go down. And if there is no market adaptation, then there's no market adaptation. But that movie is something that stays around forever. And I have seen where films were not successful at first and then all of a sudden became like cult classics later on. Like
Yep.
that does happen. So it does sit out there, and it's an asset that could potentially take off at any given time. Sometimes you release something and it's the contextual world around you at the time because of situations that are going on in the world. All of that kept it from becoming popular at the time it was released, and then later on, once whatever conflict in the real world was going on is over, and people look back, they actually find those things, and you do see these little cult classics come up.
Yeah,
So
that's like with COVID. I mean, it shut everything down. I'm sure movie theaters, everything suffered, you know, but digital forms of media profited immensely. So yeah, there's always something. But yeah, sorry for
right.
derailing you a little there, Joseph. I
No,
just
no, no,
wanted,
no, no. I
yeah,
I appreciate you asking the question because there's there's multiple layers to the film industry, and one of the things that I went into it not knowing much about the film industry when I first started this whole thing because I'm a tech guy. uh, I didn't really do an introduction to myself, but I'm the head of development at FFGI. I'm completely new to the film industry from that perspective, which is why we have people like Joseph who are advising and helping us through what we're doing. But I'm learning that there's way more layers than just, hey, this is a film, this is a script, and this is going to be a huge, gigantic production, and this is how it's going to go down. It's going to take you however many months to get this thing done, and then you got post, get that done, and then you can start thinking about making some money. And I'm like, well, there's got to be other ways to do it, and there are. And we are talking about those ways, and we're going to have some really exciting news to release to the world very soon about what we're going to do about that.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, for anybody who's thinking about trying to make a movie, my new advice is this. So Hollywood doesn't really like to green light big movie productions anymore unless they have a built-in audience. That's why you see so many movies that are based on books, because then immediately you just go, oh, well, we have so many fans that we know they'll come and they'll buy some tickets. So a great thing to do if you're thinking about wanting to make a movie at a big level is write the book first. It costs essentially no money to write a book. The big difference between movies and every other art form, not almost any other art form, every other art form, the movies are expensive. Not only are they not only are they the most complex art forms, but they are the most expensive. And so before you go down that road of spending money, you need to find out if your idea actually works and if people like it and if the story works and if it's compelling, that word we were talking about earlier. So my advice now is, especially with the magic advent of what? AI, that you might go, I'm not really a novelist. I'm not really a book writer. Well, you don't really have to be anymore because you can use AI to help you create the framework of your idea. So you can test and find out if it's really working, if it's really compelling. You could take your entire outline of what you want to do and what you want to write, have AI help you build that out into chapters and write it out as a either a screenplay or as a book. If and then you can just self-distribute the book. See if people like it. If they like it and they read it and they go, "Whoa, that really works. Awesome. Cool." Another thing that you can do, and this is what so a friend of mine is it sounds crazy, but Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Arnold Schwarzenegger had this great thing. We sat down at dinner one time and he said, James Cameron, who's the guy who, Terminator, True Lies, and Avatar and Titanic and all those things, and they essentially started out in their careers together, is that James Cameron had this really interesting process. He wrote the script to Terminator, which is the first movie that they ever collaborated on. He wrote the entire script, and then he called in all of the actors, the cinematographer, the set guys, the producers, the editor of the movie, which, in my opinion, is one of the three most important roles in the entire filmmaking process, is the editor. And they did a full reading of the script, and they spent weeks rehearsing and going through that whole project. And they even filmed it so that they could, they were just sitting there in a chair wearing, t-shirts. There was no sets, there was nothing like that. Just a basic filmed reading of the whole script. And then what James Cameron did, because he wanted to listen to the actors, he wanted to find out what they actually wanted to do, what they wanted to say, how they wanted to say it. They came up with that "I'll be back" line. And then James Cameron took all of that input, went away and rewrote the entire script. But he now had seen and heard, this is how the real actors are going to say the real lines, and how they think that they can physicalize the comedy or the action or the stunts or whatever. And then when they came back to go and make the movie, it was something that they had all had this input in. And that's why those movies are always so strong. That's not how it usually works in Hollywood. The way it usually works in Hollywood is that you make an offer to a star actor. The actor's managers and agents get involved, and you don't even really talk to that actor. And you definitely don't have time or money to do rehearsals and things like that. You make an offer to a movie star actor. The agents and managers will weed everything out. They vet it all to make sure that you've got the money in place and all that stuff. And then the actor goes, "Okay, great. You can buy my time for this week or this month, whatever it is that you want me to come and shoot, and I'll just show up and I'll be there." Um, with the movie star actors that I've worked with in the past, they show you might get one quick phone call with them. They show up on the set and then you just start shooting. It's the most backwards, foolish process creatively that I can think of. And then you just try to make the best of it in real time, spending real money rather than planning things out to begin with. So I never want to make a movie that way again. I think it's really important to get actors together and then do what James Cameron does, follow the James Cameron model. And then you can find out, by the way, guys, like, does this work or not? Is my story interesting and compelling or not? Before you start spending really any money, just see if it works with actors reading it. Sit around, just you can do it on Zoom. Just film your actors just sitting together around on Zoom. Everybody gets together, they read their lines, work it out, right? And then see if people go, oh, that feels like a story. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's exciting. The romance is working, or the relationships are working. Whatever.
Getting
I th-
feedback is literally the best thing that you can do to know because you're in your own world and you might think something is really exciting, but other people just don't connect to it. And I think the FFGI community is one of the biggest pieces of our entire ecosystem because of that very thing, having a soundboard for that. I know that this was probably supposed to be about an hour long, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that this was really great opportunity for you to hear from a seasoned, amazing professional in this industry. um, FFGI, we take the film industry very, very seriously, very cautiously. We've found a lot of amazing ways to make this a better operation going forward. And we're going to be sharing a lot of the things that we're doing as we go through this. But we're really excited to be a part of this week with the Citizen Journalism Friends Discord server, and really appreciate you, Joseph, for coming on. This was just absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, and everybody who's listening in too. Really appreciate you guys, and just like go out and make stuff, man. Creativity, right? That's what fuels everything. Go make things. Don't just talk about making it. Make it. Actually make
it
it.
helps with
And
the
maybe
inspiration too. These guys love that, and some of them need that little bit of a kick, so that little bit of a push to start doing what they want to do, but just don't have the courage to do. And a lot of what we do here is we try to get people inspired to do the things that they want, pursue that content creation, start writing a book, start writing a story, just do it. And a lot of these guys think that they need to start at the finished product rather than take the journey down the line to get there. And like what you said, with like just hit a Zoom meeting, get your actors together, get a story built, produce a book. I mean, some of them have a little bit of more of an issue because of like regional restrictions. Some people have issues with like Nigeria with Amazon KDP and other opportunities that we may have in the West, but there are other opportunities, and we've been trying to explore that with them and like help them get access to things that might be more available to them. So yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate you taking the time, Joseph, and Michael. I don't know if you go by
Absolutely.
Mike or not. So
I whatever you want to call me, Tarish, I'm good with it. And I will say this: another way for you guys to follow your inspiration, your dream. FFGI is going to be doing contests. Like we are going to be taking submissions, we are going to be taking ideas, and you're going to get real soundboard proof of how good your idea is. And you know what? It actually could turn into something. And we take that very seriously. Whenever Joseph was saying, if you're going to do something like in business and anything, think about how you could change everyone else as well. That is something that we take very seriously here. And that's what we want to do. So, opportunities, we want to be an opportunity for you to be able to follow your dream.
that's awesome. I appreciate that because that's one of the big things we're trying to do here with our guys too. So it really helps having other people in the space who are trying to promote the same sort of inclusion and progression for people who may not be at that point yet in their journeys. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to hop in and join us. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'm trying to find like a really good like director's cut or commentary film that I can have like a movie night with these guys, just hang out for a couple hours, vibe. really see like the behind the scenes, like what the actors are talking about, the directors are talking about. Something that I could stream openly though, because there's a lot of restrictions on media rights and stuff. So it's been a little bit of a challenge with that part. Um, but yeah, so you guys are welcome to join us at any point during the week, the quiz, whatever. And I know that Lord Khan was asking about the Rev NFT. So I don't know if you guys, because I think he's an ambassador from you guys, and he was asking for clarity around that, and I definitely want to get him some clarity on that, because if he's doing ambassadorship, then he's doing outreach and stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And I would love to chat with him about that. Also, we're going to be talking in depth on Wednesday. I believe that one's going to be all about like the revenue side and all of these different things with the tokenomics. So definitely have him tune into that because that's where we're really going to focus on it.
All right, awesome. That's great. Let me try to. They're asking for the link again. Get that up. I got a couple of security blocks on links so that. uh, but here we go. There we go. There you go, guys. So make sure you check these guys out. We're gonna be here all week featuring them. The contest this week is gonna be featuring them. I'm thinking like a short like maybe synopsis of a screenplay that you might want to write or something like that they can toss on X, share with friends, and invite people to come and check out FFG and CJN Friends, and um, if it's something that interests them, possibly start submitting their own stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot for having us, guys.
Of course, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your travels, Joseph.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Russ.
All right, guys. So what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna end up doing the drawing real quick. Like I said, I do have three sets of 10 USDT. I am going to be including everybody who joined us throughout the course of the um, event from beginning to end. So we're gonna have quite a few people that are gonna be in the drawing today. Give me 1 second to get set up with this, and then we'll be wrapping up for the day. And you guys can join us tomorrow for the movie. Um, Let me see here. All right. Discord. I can turn the bot off for tracking now. We'll get this situated. There we go. Bot. Stop. Tracking. CJF stage. Once I hit stop tracking, that's it. So make sure that you guys were in here at some point. If you guys haven't jumped in, if you're watching on X, Twitch, any of these platforms, and you haven't jumped into the Discord, jumped in onto the stage, um, you have to make sure that you have. It tracks everybody who's been here, who's come and left. So, yeah, if you haven't joined, you're not going to be in the drawing, guys. But yeah, it stopped. All right. Let me open this up. See? I get a nice good set of everybody that was and is, and yep. Yeah, this is fun. Let me see if I can sort this real quick. I can't sort it here. Hold on. Summary. Haha, got it. Give me 1 second and I will have everybody added to this list, and we will get the drawing going, guys. Yes, we gonna watch a movie, Velocity. We're gonna watch a movie. I want to find a good movie though. All right. So we had a total of 242 people join us today. All right. Now I need to find Graveyard. Gotta remove him. Hold on. Delete. Easier. Wait. What? There we go. Delete. Natalie. Oh. yes, you'll still be in the snapshot, Virion. Don't worry. I have it. It records. It records total time in. It records everything. Like, yeah. I'm getting more efficient at this as we go. Okay. So don't worry. MS Doom. Get rid of that one. Too many people. All right. I need to get like a list of people that I can remove from the thing based on who's been here and who was staff and who wasn't, and yeah. All right, so let's do the duck races. We're gonna do duck race of life, or no, we're gonna have to do wheel today because we have too many people. Wheel of names. Let's go. Where is my? There we go. Wheel of names. Wheel of names. Random name picker. All right, all Control V. Look at this wheel. Look at this wheel. You guys showed up. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's see here. So I'm gonna share the screen because I know some of y'all. Yeah, yeah, I can't read it. I can't read them all either. But I want to make sure we had these are all the people who joined us today. Okay. I got to remove Taurus. Um, where? Hold on. MS 15 Daniel. I just want to run through this real quick and make sure that I'm not missing anybody to remove. Pretty sure I haven't removed you yet, JK. So I want to make sure that everybody's cleared out here. Girly was here. FFG Coin. Here we go. Professor Trojan. Here we go. I want to make this as neat and tidy as possible. I don't want any possibility of the wrong people winning. We're not doing this again. Okay. This one can be removed. Um looks like we're good. Looks like we're good, guys. All right. So we're going to do 3 winners today like we usually do. 3 people are going to win the 10 USDT. Yeah, I know. Remove JKM. JKGM. There we go. Haha. Okay. Cool. Thank you, JK. So we've got 235 total people that came and attended and hung out today to learn a little bit more about our friends from FFGI. It was a lovely presentation. Joseph shared a lot of insight and knowledge with us, a lot of his journey, and that's something that we get to take bits and pieces from to help us on our journeys. Other people's experience helps us progress with our own experiences and helps us potentially not make same mistakes or get a jump start on life. It definitely something good to experience as we go. So, Kays, if you're here, you're on the list, bro. I'm telling you that right now. See? I'm good at what I'm doing, bro. I built a whole bot for this shit just because I got tired of people asking me if their name was on the list. If your name wasn't on the list, you weren't here. That's how it works now. All right? That's just how it works. All right. I fixed the bot last night because there was an issue before. I'll get into that after we do the spins. Let's get ready to spin. First one up. Our first winner of 10 USDT is. Who's it going to be? I can't see the name. It's King's Own 1212. King's Own 1212. The legend. Congrats. First winner. Next one up. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Let's go. And our next winner is Costin. Costin, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your 10 USDT win. All right. last but not least, we have. Who is it? Who is it? Oh! Desire. Desire? Desire! It was just for hustling. It just missed you, bro. I can see your name in there too. That's sad. Desire, yeah, like the bro, the H fucks with my brain. Like I see the H and I'm like, desire, desire, yeah. Bleh. All right, look, we got our winners though. We got our winners. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And if you guys want to know a little more about how the bot works, I built the bot. The bot records everybody that is there presently at the start of the recording, and then it records everybody that joins and leaves, and then calculates up all their time and gives me a nice little CSV file showing all the names, summary, how long people have spent in the channels. Um, so it's awesome. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining in. I thank you guys so much for hanging out and enjoying the show today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be back with movie night tomorrow. I'm also going to announce the winners of the Linktree contest. So, oh, it's cool. I got other shit that it can do too. Like I am so super stoked about this bot. I've got so many other things that I'm building out for it. And this is just the start, guys. There's going to be a whole community XP element to it. There's going to be like a soft currency for things. I'm going all in on this bot, guys. Um, Now I got to be careful because like I don't want to step on other people's toes for people I know that are building a bot. But I'm also trying to build this out as complete as I can for the purposes that I want, because I want to provide the best value to you guys. And if it ends up coming down to a thing where like I got to be concerned about like stepping on toes, then I'll discuss that with them at that time, and we'll get things figured out. Worst case scenario, you know what I'm saying? Bob the Builder, can we fix it? The moment you did the builder part, I couldn't help it. It was like compulsive. It was like Bob the Builder. Oh, I ain't trying. What do you mean step on your toes? You don't want me to step on anybody's toes. Those poor toes will be dead. All right. I am not. I am not the guy to step on people's toes. I am too heavy. Poor toes. Poor toes. Poor toes. All right. But yeah. So to, tomorrow we're gonna be back with the movie night. Movie night happens at the same time. You don't have to stick around for the whole movie. TARDIS blow my ears off. I'm still trying to find it, guys. There was one. Where was it? It was Armageddon, and I think that's the one. I think that's the one I want to do, but it's not the actual movie. It's just a commentary on the whole movie with Michael Bay, Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, and Jerry Bruckheimer. So like, I want one with commentary from the cast and the directors and stuff. Movies with cast commentary. Oh, Fellowship of the Ring. That's 3 hours though, guys. I don't think we could do it. The submission for the AMAs, and that's a good question, Case. They're gonna have to end the night before. They're gonna have to end tomorrow night, honestly, because I'm sorry, Virion. You like it when I'm loud, Shush. Come on. Um, anyway, so we have we'll probably have to cut it off tomorrow night because I need some time to sort through them. I need some time to pick some winners. Some time to submit the bulk of the questions that are good questions to their team and have them look through it. Um, I just want to make sure that we do it right, that I get the chance to go through everything. So it's probably going to be tomorrow night for the questions. I will make a post about it. I'm gonna write it in my handy dandy notebook. Okay. Um, oh wait, that was another one. Rev NFT, Rev NFT, Rev NFT, because I want to make sure he gets his question answered. Rev NFT from Lord Khan, I think it was right. Lord Khan. Um, all right, and then you guys said the winners for Linktree today, tonight, latest. We're gonna be doing the contest for this week. I think we're gonna do like a synopsis for a screenwrite, or yeah, screenwrite or play. Um, Something short, doesn't have to be super long. Then we're gonna be doing the AMA question announcement for cutoff for tomorrow night. There we go. Um, what else we got here? What is there anything else I'm missing, guys, that you guys can think of? Movie for tomorrow with cast commentary. All right. I think I've got everything. So let me know if you guys think I'm missing anything. If I did, I'm happy to be corrected. We could even do like an episode of Breaking Bad with commentary. Breaking Bad was a sick movie or a sick show. Like, hey Charlie, what's up, buddy? See, the problem with the Fellowship of the Ring, like any of these big movies like this, I'm announcing that tonight. Zani, Bram Stoker's Dracula. What? I could get down with this.
Did you know that in the original Father 3 story, and when she
See,
came,
this is
she
the
didn't feel
problem.
well,
All
and
of these
she
commentaries
basically
aren't
withdrew
like
from
the
the film,
actual
leaving
movie
me in a
happening.
tough spot for Godfather 3.
It's
Much
it's
later,
just
we talked about
the
it, and I didn't
commentary
want
as it
to
goes
have a
through,
grudge against the young
exploring the
person, so I
different
tried to be
scenes.
nice.
So that's kind of where part of that problem comes in. I think Return of the King Disc Two confronts. Okay. Let's see what this one is. Hold on.
Woohoo! I'm Vince Gilligan. I'm the creator of Breaking Bad, and I wrote and directed the
I
pilot
think I
that
think this is what we're
we're
gonna do
watching. And I'm
tomorrow.
here with the world's largest assembled crew of
That
folks.
shot right there,
Look at the
Vince.
pants.
Start with that. That's
All right,
fantastic.
that is a great
Vince, you're
shot.
amazing.
That is a great shot.
How did they do that?
This is all digital.
Oh, okay.
No. We threw it over and over again until we.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do the Breaking Bad one tomorrow. Yeah. Where's the movie? Movie for tomorrow with cast commentary. We're gonna do Breaking Bad TV show. Because I like the mindset behind that movie, like that show, the cast, the characters, the mentality, the acting that they did was insane, guys. Like, so yeah, I think that that'll give us a really good dive, especially because this has all the main characters, like commentators, Vince Gilligan, Bryan Cranston, main character, Anna Gunn, main character, one of the characters, Aaron Paul, Dean Norris. Like they have almost everybody, right? Oh yeah, the AMA submission is open. You guys can submit your questions at any time. Let me double check the Zealy for that though, real quick. I just want to make sure that you guys can see the. You know what? I don't think I have the quest for that open. Um, but I did provide the instructions for it. So let me see here. Hold on. Attend the event on Monday. Wait, no, Wednesday. What the fuck did I do here? Wednesday. There we go. Publish. Tuesday. Attend the event on Monday. Okay, so yeah, what I ended up doing was I copy pasted this shit, and I forgot to take out uh the one section. Okay, publish. Good. Thursday, not Monday. All right, hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Um, I goofed it. Thursday. Um, Friday. Just so you guys know, We're not doing the live space on Friday. I'm probably going to be shifting that to a Saturday. It's going to become a personal space for me that I'm going to run for you guys. Okay, it's not going to be a CJN Friends event because they want to keep the spaces branded a certain way and the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be a Taurus Rush space for his friends at CJN Friends. But it's not going to be an official CJN Friends space. All right. I'm letting you guys know that now just because. That's how it is. There's no oh but why? It's just what it is, guys. And we're gonna move forward with that in mind, and we're still going to have an awesome time with some awesome friggin' spaces. Don't you worry about it. All right. Just making sure that all the quests are right since I noticed I screwed up. All right, cool. It looks like everything is good now. So you guys shouldn't have any issues. 50, 50, 50, 50. A lot of EXP being given away this week too, guys. So make sure that you guys are participating. Um, but yeah, the submissions are open. If you look at the announcement in Quest updates, I think I even pinned it. Um, yeah. Now you're going to need a copy of the link address for your Discord post so that we could check those. So like you know how like you'll if you go to AMA, right? And you go to where Takwa is and you go to copy message link, that's the link that you're gonna need for your Zilly quest. So you're gonna need like this link, and that link will be one of the submissions for Wednesday, Wednesday's thing. So make sure that you have your screenshots on hand, and make sure that you have your link copied so that you can just copy paste it. Make it easier on yourself. No need to stress about it. The whole 9 yards. I do not see where I posted that, so I will make an updated post so that you guys can have that readily available. All right? I don't want anybody to have any issues with any of this shit because um, it's just no fun when things don't go right, right? But yeah, so limited, you'll need a screenshot for Wednesday's event. You'll need to submit an AMA question, our Project Week feature, and will be entered for a chance to win 20 UST. There will be 10 winners. Submit AMA question final week. Follow the instructions on how to provide the link to your AMA question in the quest. There is an image showing how to get this link off your message. So yes, there is information in the quest itself. So you guys should just focus on making sure that you follow the instructions. And that's why we have a section where we can put instructions. If something is unclear to you, you have every right to come to quest discussions and ask questions. Um, if you just didn't read, I have every right to tell you go back and reread the post. Okay, I'm answering questions for something just because you didn't read is not something we're going to be doing. You're all adults, okay? I'm not corralling like preschoolers or anything. You're all adults. You can read a post and then like do the task. If you have trouble understanding the post and doing the task, that's a different story. But if like you just flat out didn't read the post, I'm not engaging with that. You guys can go back and read the post. All right? Capiche? Comprende? How do I say do you understand in Nigerian? In Swahili, in Filipino. How do I say it? How do I say it? I just want to make sure everybody is clear. All right. I need a do you comprende in every language. Okay. Um. Capiche? Yes. That's the Italian. Even the Italians from Italy understand capiche. Okay. Um. All right. So on that note, at least I think that's actually like a full Italian word, but yeah, I don't know. I know it's from the city. Capiche? Capiche? Um, but yeah, guys. In Nigerian Yoruba, so yay eh? Is that it? So yay eh? Why you laughing at me, bro? I'm trying to. I'm trying. I'm trying. Jeez. he he just said. I tried. I tried. I failed. I tried though. I tried. Yeah, you're good, Kays. I appreciate you coming in, brother. I'll see you tomorrow if you come through. If not, I understand. We're gonna be here all week. I gotta start getting that quiz together for Thursday so that you guys have your quiz ready. I'm trying to build a quiz module into this so that we could do this asynchronously. So you guys don't have to be on the stage to take the quiz, right? But we can still get together for an hour and take the quiz too. Um, but that's gonna take a little bit more time, I think. I don't like the current quiz bot and the way it functions. So I'm building my own quiz bot. Fuck it, why not? Um, yeah, if there's no solution for you in the way you want the solution, you make your solution. See you, K's. I'm a firm believer, and you can get what you want. You just got to build it. All right, guys, we're gonna end this up. I appreciate everybody for coming out, everybody for hanging out. Thank you everybody who tuned in live. Thank you for the follows for those who followed. Thank you for the likes, the comments, whatever you guys are doing. I appreciate you all. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you again tomorrow for movie night. For yeah, technically movie night, but like a cinematic, like Breaking Bad being played with the commentary from the cast and team, getting an idea behind movie making and what goes on in the scene and thoughts, and it's going to be a good time. I will catch you guys soon.